Yes, nowhere without it. Nowhere. So we have been looking and dialoguing and breakdown, assessing, the proper handling of people. And in chapter 5, we came into a chapter that started to deal with some of the 4 basic problems that probably outline or at least sets the parameters of some of our difficulty factors. And within these parameters, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that these are some of the 4 basic problems that really affect us, directly, meaning you, as a byproduct, then maybe your family. And then as an extension of that, then it comes into the community, begins to affect us. And last Thursday, we dealt with health, and we started to break that down and look at health as far as why is it one of the 4 basic problems of it, identifying these health issues, and then also talking about how to rectify these particular health issues also. So in conjunction with that, we actually got out of here about 10 o'clock, and we could have kept moving on from there, but I had to shut it down and keep us in some type of structure in regards to that, because and Sister Kalila, them two was rolling with that topic in regards to that. And little Rob jumped in over here and was adding his 2 cents, and it was a very healthy dialogue. And one of the things at the end I would have suggested, and probably should have, is making sure that we have information in front of us. And one of the best informations about critiquing health is How to Eat to Live. One of the best books that you can read. And there's other publications that have a higher truth in it also. We should not ignore that.
That's right.
The minister and the messenger, never taught us to ignore that. In regards to, finding, the highest truth within information, knowledge, and wisdom. So, we never want to do that. So if we have a chance, I believe that particular book is online. So, as you were saying, going online now is a big thing. Hey, you can find that particular publication, How to Eat to Live, right online.
Yeah.
Maybe reviewing it if we've read it or skimmed over it, maybe taking another look at it, especially in the way that they're really poisoning us. We're going to be careful, but really poisoning us is a slower type of death. And they're enticing us based upon our palates and our taste buds, things of that sort. So we have to have the discipline to be able to break that behavior. I know none of you all have, no disciplines that you have to overcome, but brother does. So I'll be the first one to pull that back up, and read that. So as moving forward, looking at some of the 4 basic problems, which are the cornerstones for some of our obstacles that we need to overcome. The next one that the messenger wanted to point out is finances. And the financial aspect, especially dealing with the life and the reality of the black man and black women, people of color. And then the minister, if you notice, he's going to poor whites. He's dealing with them today. He's dealing with it. If poor whites are suffering from the appetite of the wealthy, of the political, those that hold the power, to where it even trickles down and they getting it too. So there's an anger within them.
Yes, sir.
If you take a look at the militias that they have out here, they're gunning up. They got guns galore. They buying them off the shelves like crazy. So, they're anticipating some type of conflict, because they've had enough on their end as far as what they consider.
Yes,
so, right now, taking a look at finances, I want to just try and have an exchange and a dialogue to see how do these particular... Oh, thank you so much. Gave me a little extra? Okay, thank you so much. How can and why does these finances, affect us in such a very damaging way, and then turn it and see what are some of the solutions. So you have to look at the problems, but we also have to have a solution. Too many times we identify problems, but we don't have any solutions then to, move it out the way it's planted in regards to that.
Yes, sir.
So taking a look at the 4 basic problems dealing with finance, let me at least pull a little bit of data or actual facts, and this is just based upon statistics, and then we'll kind of open it up and really start to break down how does finance impact us directly, and then family-wise, and then community-wise, and then look at some of that. One of the things when I looked at finance or looked at wealth, something that was pointed out here that was, when you look at it in this particular aspect, it's really disheartening. Maybe I can use that, because it said in 2010 the median wealth in black households. Now this is across the United States, meaning if you take New York to California and everything in between, that means Californians may be thinking they live in a certain way, and New Yorkers think they live in a certain way, but our brothers and sisters throughout the South and the Midwest that still may not have the equity opportunities that afford us, they just took a total amount of that, and they said the median wealth of blacks in their household in 2010 was $16,600. That was in 2010.
Yes, sir.
In 2013, which they didn't have a 15 now, it dropped down and it fell 33.7% to 11,000. So you have across the board black people of color surviving across the board with no more than $11,000 per year as the medium household. Yes, sir, Brother Teddy.
It's also important when reading that statistic to understand that the median is not the average.
Mm-hmm.
It's number one, number two, then you got 9 and 10, and the middle number is 7. That's the median, is 7.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's not even that. That's just the number that was in the middle
Yes,
of the lowest numbers and the highest numbers.
Wow.
It's not the average, you know what I mean?
Thank you
So
much.
it's important to understand that $11,000 is probably a high. I mean, even to myself, I say that's a high estimate.
Yes, sir. When you take the collective.
When you take the collective into account,
Yes, yes. So I just want to kind of, based off of that, and then based off of our own life experience, what are some of the problems, since these are the 4 basic cornerstones that create obstacles, what are some of the problems that originate out of having a lack of finances? And I want to start with our sister, if that's okay, start with the sisters first. So, Sister Kimberly, what are some of the problems that arise from, not having the proper financial stability to be able to maintain self, i.e. extends to family, i.e. then further extends to community? How does finances affect you? And what problems do they then create or multiply?
I'll try to speak on an average of what I see. Can you repeat the question again?
Yes, ma'am. How does the finances or lack of finances create one of these basic 4 problems? There's a cornerstone that the messenger was identifying, finances being one. So how does having a lack of those finances, because first you act personally, then family, then it affects your community. So how does it affect you personally, if you can share, or, what has you gauged lack of finances does and affects us in our community?
Okay, well, because it could be so broad, so I was just trying to get an idea of where to start at.
Yes, ma'am.
Within the 4 basic problems,
Yes, ma'am.
finances can cause an eruption regarding all the other 3.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Because
With that.
if you start out and you have nothing, and you're wondering how you're going to get the health care you need.
That's right.
Okay.
As far as domestic affairs, I can think a job, place to live, how to get there. You have no money, it's going to be extremely hard to do what needs to be done. And then, lastly, affairs of the heart. You could turn on the television at any time, and I'm a criminal justice major, so I've always been honed in on criminal justice shows. So you can turn on any of the judge shows, and at least one or two of the cases within that segment of time have to do with a divorce or people who are cohabitating together and no longer get along. And money is always the root of it.
Yes, ma'am.
So, not all these shows they have, like the have and have-nots. I've never watched it, but when I think of that, I think back to when my grandparents used to talk about that. The have and the have-nots, where black folks were the have-nots, and the haves were the Jewish people, the white people. And they worked as hard as they could to obtain just a snippet of what the haves acquired, but they knew, because of where they were at in the world and how the world treated them, they would not get that. But they strived to. That was what was in their I was in their hearts. They wanted to do better for their families. They wanted to do better than what had been given or shown to them.
Right. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Brother Steve, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. Good to see everyone.
Yes, sir. So, finances, economics, resources, all those particular things that drive sometimes the desire of a person, pro or con. They try to get those resources, get them chips. You know what I mean? Son? New York over there. Yes. New York over there, Daddy. Okay. How does the fact that out of that cornerstone of these four basic problems, how does finance affect us? What does it create? Because it can affect us in a couple of different ways. And I have it here. Affect us. Brother Kenyati's not wearing the same thing that he normally would wear. But then there's another effect of lack of resources may create also. So when we have a lack of finances, equity, and prosperity, how does that affect us, as quote-unquote so-called American Negro? We're original people, but that's how they framed us. How does that affect us, sir?
Well, to start off, like the sister brought out, the lack of or an abundance of finance can impact a person or a group of people on so many levels.
Okay.
And I think, like in this country, you don't have a bartering system where you can just straight up, barter a skill for like some sort of asset, like food or anything. Right. Everything is our medium of exchange is money. And with that, it affords you educational opportunities, beyond grade school. In order to take a trade, if you don't have a scholarship, you need money to finance education. And then you need money as a means to acquire wealth to pass on to the next generation, as Brother Scott is always talking about the importance of being financially astute and, amassing enough to retire on, and then leave assets to your children, and that's, and then from there, once you build up, wealth on a family level, then, you open up businesses and everything, and then you acquire wealth on a community level, on a tribal level.
Yeah, I like hearing that.
Also, to the more mundane. So I guess that's important. Generational wealth,
Okay.
or community wealth, is realized through, accumulating finances or money, whatever. But on the more mundane, we kind of live in a materialistic, society, and it's important to look good, dress nicely,
Right.
have a nice car,
Okay.
or else you're not going to get, that female. I guess the pressure is more, at least from my perspective, a little more on the man to have wealth, look nice and have all these things,
Gotcha.
but that's also important. I know brothers might feel like, they don't have enough wealth, they can't get the nice ride, or they can't get the nice clothes, and then they can't get the nice female, and then they're worthless.
Right.
We'll
Right.
talk and jump to that.
Right. So, onto the mundane. It might be mundane when you look at it overall in comparison to how important it is from a community level. But personally, that's important to a lot of people.
Okay.
So, that's my input on it. Oh, affairs of the heart,
And we'll get to those.
Yeah.
Because each one has its own,
Exactly.
its own component. Yes, ma'am. We'll get to those.
Yep.
But most definitely, finance is one of these mountains that we've been trying to climb since we've gotten here.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know what's on the side of that mountain, if it's quicksand or an oil slick, but we've tried everything possible to get up that mountain and up that hill. And the messenger and the minister told us that our unity is
Right.
more powerful than an atomic bomb.
Yes, sir.
That's where we can find our wealth, and we can get up that hill and finally grab some traction. Because as individuals, you're just one ant climbing up that hill with a whole lot of, I don't know, what is the ants?
A swarm, a flock, colony.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That ant has to get around all types of other obstacles trying to chew him up, going up that. But when you see them red ants marching in unity, man, they'll remove a whole lot of things about their path.
Yes,
So it's our unity that allows us to get up that hill that Brother Steve is talking to in a collective manner. We're more powerful doing it in that moment. So most definitely, I did take down, and thank you, Brother Steve, for that feedback. Brother Teddy, we're dealing with finances. We're dealing with the here and now. I want it now. I don't even want to wait till tomorrow. Planning for what? How does the fact that, how does finances affect us personally? Because sometimes it's our testimony that frees somebody else. And then how does it extend out when we have one of these financial episodes, as our sister was saying?
I definitely agree with what Brother Steve said, and I think Sister Kim also, everyone knows, especially with how finances affects all the other three, and in truth, in this society that we live in, this world we live in, our finances are the foundation for living. It's food, clothing, and shelter. The only way for us to acquire that bare minimum, those basic necessities, is to have finances. And when you look at the income ratios, or not ratios, but the statistics about how many people make a certain amount, when you start breaking into that six-figure income, you're only looking at about 10% of the population or less making that. So the other 90 is up under that six-figure income.
Right.
And then it drastically jumps down as you get closer to the larger portions of the percentages. And with that being said, when you have people who are living paycheck to paycheck, which the vast majority of the entire population is, you basically created a ceiling for that person. I can't even think about or comprehend getting, a car if I don't got a crib yet. I don't got a place to stay. And if I don't got a roof over my head, that's mine. I'm not even a car, man. You crazy? You know, I can't even. That's not even something I can entertain. Or once I get a place to stay in a car, you know, I'm not even thinking about acquiring maybe a cell phone, like a smartphone or something like that, and or a computer or a big screen or anything like that. You know, these things start to be out of reach for us. And you know, the longer that you have somebody at the same level, the more dissatisfied they become. And the more dissatisfied they become, the more desperate they become. And if you don't give them the creative resources to pull finances from other places and create more revenue streams for them to build on top of their little kingdom that they got, you know, they may look into other devious ways, nefarious ways.
Yes.
You know, because that's all they really is seeing. You know, that's the only thing that makes sense to them. And so, you know, finances is definitely, if you don't understand it, if you don't comprehend how it works or how economics works, it can definitely make you crazy. That sounds like, bro. It could definitely drive you down a path that you may have tried to steer away from your whole life and really put as much energy as possible into doing so. You know, and then it's also important to realize that everything that needs to get done in the world can happen without money. It doesn't need to be there. You know, you're not wearing money. We're not eating money. We're not living in and under money. You know what I mean? It was all here before money was ever here. You know, so it's really important to understand that concept. And then when you figure out that, you know, money is just the incentive for people to do what they do, it shifts the whole power of money. You stop thinking about money being, you know, the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. And when you stop loving the money, then you won't be so quick to jump down that road or you know, do certain things in order to attain it.
Yes,
So, you know, it's, that's what I would say.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate that. You know, I think the brother's name is Boyce Watson.
Dr. Boyce Watkins?
Yeah,
Dr.
the
Boyce.
economist.
Yeah. And he was talking about Straight Outta Compton, and he was giving his critique on it, and he was very quick about it. The one thing he said that was very impactful, he said, because Ice Cube and Dre pulled their resources together and backed it along with Universal Pictures or Universal engaged that. He said the revenue that came from that particular movie and then their ventures, he said their families, their children and their children's children and their children's children, because now he started to talk about wealth, right? He said they should be able to extend that wealth for at least 300 years if properly managed. And Brother Scott talks about, you know, managing economics properly. But I was listening to him, and then he made a reference to our brother Shook, because at one time his record company, especially on the West Coast, and really compared to any of them, was producing probably damn near some of the highest annual revenue, you know, dollar for dollar that you can name. But at this particular point, he sold his masters. And no longer is he, I think it was up to like 400,000 or 500,000 that he was making, 4 or 500 million a year.
Wow.
that Death Row record was making. But he referenced it very quickly, saying, well, maybe the brother did not have a full understanding of finances in regards to how to take that and leverage that, you know, 3, 4, 500 million and create, you know, $1 billion out of that.
That's
you
right.
know, how to leverage that much money. And even if it's not liquid assets, it's the influence that you can have to access to additional resources.
That's right.
That can also create money. And Brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I heard, you know, he used, let me send a shout out. I heard the minister say, let me send a shout out to our boxing championship and our brother, Floyd Mayweather Jr., because I think that purse was, I think just the purse was somewhere around 200 million.
Yes, sir.
Now, you didn't even get into pay-per-view and all the rest of that, T-shirts and marketing and who knows where it finishes up at. But after that fight, the billionaire, or probably, multi-billionaire Warren Buffett,
Yes, sir.
began to befriend him.
Mm.
And the minister said, be careful. This is a shout out, to my brother, be careful. And really, you haven't used them before in your avenue to be successful. Your consistency has brought you to the pinnacle that you have now, the resources to really do something powerful.
Yes, sir.
So, my prayer is that our brother, being in this position, really can start to take that wealth and maximize it and reach back into his community, not just to throw money away, because that old saying is, there's money where? In the hood.
That's right.
That's that old, there's money in the hood.
Yeah.
You hear that in every little pop culture, hip hop movie, because there's money. But there's money out in Roseville and Folsom and
right.
in Malibu and out all over the place. Why should we limit ourselves to any demographics? We should just be wise with our resources. And we have to be taught that. And if we're not, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is saying, this will become one of our 4 basic problems.
That's right.
Health, finances, domestic affairs, and affairs of the heart. Finances, and resources, and money most definitely will cause us to have that type of complication. So let me just ask Brother Scott, just to share a bit from his life experience, how can money become one of those 4 basic problems? And, do you have any testimony of the effects of, finances and how they can create a problem?
Yes to all of the above.
Okay, yes, sir.
I'd like to start out by concurring with what Sister Kimberly said, is that finances have the ability to impact the other 3.
Yes, sir.
But from a historical perspective,
Okay, please.
I just finished reading a book by Ta-Nehisi Coates, Between the World and Me. And I was going to suggest it to you because you've got a son.
Yes, sir.
It's a letter to his son.
Okay.
I mean, it's powerful.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'll take that. Down.
Yeah. And one of the things he says in there is a mountain is not a mountain unless there's something below.
That's right.
And we are below. We've always been below.
That's right.
The way this country was structured, because was for us to be below.
Yes.
So, in the context of finances, the original wealth produced by this country came from us.
Yes.
We were the product, slaves. We were the labor, and cotton was the product, and we were also the product because they sold us.
That's right.
We were valuable.
Yes, sir.
So so when you look at the financial structure of the country, and something else he said that really resonated with me. He said slavery didn't end in 1865. It's just mutated. And no area is it more evident of that mutation than economics.
That's right.
Because when it comes to finances, we're at the bottom.
That's right.
And that is not by accident. So understanding and having the proper value of finances, because the worst thing you could do is to define yourself by your finances.
Right.
And sometimes we do that because we, as a people, have come from an existence where we did not have. And so when we turned on the TV and saw the white folks driving nice cars and living in big houses, that's what we wanted. And why shouldn't we want it? It's the American dream. But then when some of us, sometimes when we acquire it, we forget the folks that we grew up with. We don't go back to the hood. You know, we don't. You know, I become me, and they become them now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, finances have the ability to really, really make a community or an individual better, but it could also have the opposite effect.
That's right.
You know, and so my objective has always been to first of all understand it. You know, do the fundamentals of it to a point where it begins to, you know, show returns.
Yes, sir.
And then hopefully pass that same knowledge on to my children.
Yes, sir.
With my youngest one, he's still challenged. You know, I talk with him today. You know.
Yes, sir. But we won't go into that.
Oh no,
I'm
not going to details.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying that at the end of the day, unfortunately, we don't live in a country where bartering is the medium of exchange. So you wouldn't need as much money. You know, but you know, America is the way it is, and it's not going to change. So we either got to get, you know, in line and get what's available to us, so we can participate in it, or get the hell out.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I like that. Yes, sir. Because there are other countries that function in different parameters in regards to equity. That people really, when they retire, they be trying to get the hell out. They're like, I'm taking my money, I'm going over here. And I'm going to retire. I'm taking my money and I'm going over there and I'm going to retire. There's people just really saying, hey man, I'm out of here. Yes, sir.
You know, it's also important to remember that it's how you get the money is more important than how much money you got, even if it's legit. Because in this capitalistic society, you have people who would have made great teachers, but instead they're doctors because of money, and they're mediocre doctors or bad ones, you know, just because it's the money, and they're unhappy with what they do because they really want to be teaching, you know. And this society is not built to draw out of you the gift that God has given you for the world. You know, it's made for you to chase the dollar, and conversely, you know, teachers aren't paid as much as ball players. You know what I mean? And these are the ones that are molding the minds of the youth, creating these brand new generations,
Right.
and moving them along. So, understanding what kind of system economically that you're put in, and the social effects of that and the ramifications of that is as important as how the money moves as well, like Brother Scott said.
Right. Brother Maurice, good to see you out this evening, brother.
So it's good to see you all.
Yes, sir. Any thoughts, brother, since the messenger and the minister basically framed, you know, as a platform, 4 basic problems that really then undergird some of the extensions. And we dealt with health last week, and we're dealing with finance. How does finance identify, you know, as an individual or within a household or in a community as one of those problems? How does it, you know, raise its head, and what problems may it cause, so we can really get a good understanding about finances?
Ice-T said in the song that I like that he can live on bread and water or on lobster and steak. So that means we have to learn how to adapt to whatever situation comes up. Because if you're a true believer in the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, then we know that this world is going to go down. It's a book called Fall of America that details the world going down. So you can keep your job, your 401k, your benefits, or whatever you think you got going on. You think you got that steady twice a month check. But if you're a true believer, we're taught that the world is going to go down, and you must have to start to do for yourself. So doing for yourself means you have to start to adapt. I'm thankful that I've been in certain situations previously in my life where adoption came in. I've heard you talk about your past too. You've been in situations like that too. Sometimes when the money was good, I'm going to live a little bit more. But when the money was bad, I knew how to go from being at Sizzlers all the time to putting chili cheese on some Doritos and eating that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how real it was. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to put some stuff away. I think when dealing with money, you got to use wisdom. A lot of times, like Brother Scott said, you know, Negroes is really into shiny things and fancy things. And they'll go out and go buy something that's shining. May not have any real worth to it, but it looks good. You know what I'm saying? Shiny. You know, and they go and get this. I walked out, I'm here every day now from Monday through Friday. I walked out to the front the other day. There's a barber right here at this shop right here. There was a Maserati parked out there. He's standing by the Maserati. You know, he made it a point to open the door. You know how when you open the door and put one foot on and be standing on your phone to show everybody this is you. And I was thinking, you know, that's a nice car for a barber. You know what I'm saying? I said, but that's just stuff, eye candy.
Right.
Where do you live? Because I know people that have nice cars, Maseratis, the new slant back Benz and whatnot, and they've rented rooms in people's houses. You know what I'm saying? They live in an apartment. They can't really park their car where they stay. But it's for a show. So once we get out of that Negro mindedness on putting on a show for everybody, it's not about putting on a show. It's about creating something so that you can pass down to your children, so your family, we can all eat off this. We can all suck from this. Not, you know, nobody gets remembered because they had a nice car. Okay, and if it is a memory, it's like this. If you've seen the movie Straight Outta Compton, there was a scene in there when Easy was moving out into the big house. And he had to go to a regular looking house. He goes to look like he was in Inglewood. There's cars parked right in front. And he was stressed. I said, because it's nothing guaranteed no more. That's right. You know what I mean? Unless you create it for yourself and you're ruling over your finances yourself and you get it on your own. These entertainers and these sports figures and whatnot, a lot of people say, well, so-and-so is not giving back to the community. So-and-so is not giving back to the community. And some people say, well, they made that money. They don't got to give back. But the minister says, you know, they're going to have a couple of trinkets of people that's making this money. But the condition of your people as a whole shows the condition of us. That's right. So, I mean, if you made $85 million, it's not nothing to give $5 million to invest back in what you're doing. This is why Dr. Dre, because he got so much slack on giving to USC, and USC has a history of giving black folks some problems at that school. That's right. And he gave all that money to USC for a music program. He had to check himself because he constantly backflack on that. And he's invested now. All the proceeds is going back into Compton. You know what I'm saying? He's building some stuff up from Compton. And the agents and the Asian provocateurs and people are sending people at him right now. They pull Michelle A out the cut, and now all of a sudden the big thing is Drake beats the elephant in the room. Drake beat women up. Well, the man was 22, 23 years old. Now, if we're talking about 50-something-year-old Drake, he's been married 20-something years. Got children, raising his family. So I said, if we took a snapshot of each and every one of us from age 19 to 25, we'd all have something that can be have a finger pointed at. So now, like you said about Floyd Mayweather, now when some of our brothers get this money and they start to do positive things and reinvest in their community and uplift their community, that's when the Warren Buffetts come out. Right. That's when the accusations of you beat me back in 1987 came out. That's when all this other stuff come out. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to always try to twist our people, especially those with money, twist them so that they turn the average Negro mind against them, as they did with Bill Cosby. But you don't hear nothing about Subway guy Jared, and Jared was doing child pornography and humping on babies. You know what I'm saying? Bill Cosby had an accusation. and we got Negroes that just went bad on him. But that's all a play for the money and what he has going. So I want to end it like this. It's about adapting and being wise with your money. Don't go out. You know, Michael Jordan investing $30 million in private prisons.
Yeah.
So why would you go buy his tennis shoe for $190 when it only make $15 to make? This Negro don't care nothing about. I done seen Michael Jordan before face to face, and he looked at me like I wasn't nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm, hey, Air Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Why would you do that? And we need to, I think special classes need to be set up, financial planning and whatnot, that cater straight to us, to get out of that thinking. I worked in a school before, and one of the children said, look at your shoes, you don't even have the new Jordan 12s on.
Yeah.
You can't even get them. Look what I got. You know what I'm saying? You know, I said, silly. You know what I'm saying? I can go buy some Jordans right now, but they don't make me nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's about taking care of a whole, and not just, because shoot, I did that before. I went out and bought the Jordan 14s. Me, Caprice, and Sade had the same pair of blue and white, and they were babies, so, you know, they grew out of them like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I had mine, and then after a certain time passed, I would wear them to go take the garbage out. It was old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just think you got to be wise in what you do with money and be frugal. Be have a mindset of non-extravagance. Get what you need. We're always trying to go for what we want. That look nice. If you, and I tell the people I talk to, if you won the lottery or had a lump sum of money, what would you go do? Would you go buy the Bentley and a house on the hill, or would you go get something that's viable, that's going to bring money back? Would you go open a supermarket in your neighborhood? Would you go to Howard and go get some black doctors and say, I'm going to open up a practice right here, I want y'all to populate this and do the thing? Or would you go buy a couple of apartment complexes, you know what I'm saying, and properties, and say, you know what, I'm not even going to tell my children, this is my thoughts, I'm not even going to tell my children I have this, but I want to see them work for what they get. And once I'm satisfied that they're doing on their own, I can say, you know what, for the past 12 years, that apartment complex, that's yours, it's all your money right there. You know, just go collect the rent on there, that's you. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to stay even after I'm gone. That building's going to stay. This building's going to be here after we go.
Right.
And I think that we need to start thinking like that instead of what the latest is. And I tell my daughter that what the latest shoe and what you got to get, because it don't mean nothing. I've survived on welfare before.
Right.
In the 90s, early 90s. Me, my daughter's mom, my daughter and her daughter in a one-bedroom apartment. I think we were getting $390 a month. And we were living pretty good. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't hungry. We had all the bills was paid off of $390.
Right.
So if we was doing that on $390 and nothing else coming in, so I'm able to do it on $1,500 a month. I'm able to do it. If I can live comfortable on $1,500 to $1,900 a month, imagine the people that's making $7,000 a month.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think just from the experience, like Mr. Scott said, if you experienced a certain way of living and you lived for years on $1,900 a month, you was living comfortable. You had a car, you had everything. When you start making that $7,000 a month, all that excess should be put away.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I can live on this. This should be put away, and now I'm stacking something up right here. But when it's them opportunities, you always get them once in a lifetime opportunities. Every time I don't have no money, that's when somebody want to come sell me a lowrider. I need $500 for it. I don't got no money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the opportunities going to pop up when you got that money, and you're going to have something to get something with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Brother Scott.
Yeah, I would also say that I concur with a lot of what he said. One of the fundamentals of prudent financial management is, number one, you know, like you said, you always live below your means.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you are going to spend on things that you say want versus what you need, you want to try to invest in something that's going to appreciate, not depreciate.
That's right.
You know, I mean, a $5,000 car will get you to and from work,
Come on, teach on that.
as well as a $25,000 car.
Right, right.
I mean, I've been driving the same car I bought it in 2000. It was a 91. I bought it in 2000. And I'm still driving the same car.
Right.
You know, and my son, my youngest one, he's had 4 cars. Within that time, well, he's 23, so he's been driving, I think, about 18. You know, so not expensive cars, but it's just the fact that he doesn't take care of them.
Yes, sir.
And so you got to take care of the stuff, you know. And any, you know, I see people probably walking down the street with, like you said, Jordans on, a cell phone, but they probably don't have $100 in a savings account.
That's right.
But they look good.
Yeah.
You know, see, we get caught up in the symbols of wealth,
Right.
rather than
Right.
the substance of wealth.
That's right.
You know, so, and you know, like I said, you know, who else in this country deserves to look good any more than us?
Right.
If anybody deserves to have all the fine material things as hell, we made it possible for the ones who got it to have it.
That's
Come
right.
on.
We were deceived.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
so I don't blame our people for wanting it, but we sell ourselves short when we seek that instant gratification,
Right.
and that
That's
glitter.
what it is, too.
We don't have the patience to think long term.
Right.
We want it right now, and that's a difficult thing to combat. But anything that's built methodically and carefully
Systematically.
is more likely to endure than something just quickly thrown together.
Right.
And the accumulation of wealth is one of those processes where you have to take it step by step by step by step.
Good teaching. I got Brother Teddy, then Brother Maurice. Let me ask Brother Teddy just to follow up on this.
sir.
When he said that, the messenger and the minister jumped right in our head. He said, Master Prophet Muhammad came to give us. You remember what he said? Master Prophet Muhammad came to give us money.
Good on luxury, friendships, and all walks of life.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So those things, as Brother Scott was saying, that made me reflect upon. That was what was promised to us to take us out of the condition that we were in, and that we were suffering up underneath. If anybody should be able to extract the resources and live in a certain with a certain quality of life, we should. And we've been given the tools to do that. We need to execute that. Money, luxury, friendship, good home,
Yes, sir.
in all walks of life. Yes, sir.
You know, with the luxury part, so I had this come up before, it's not necessarily like, you know, I'm going to have a panda skin suit, you know what I mean? It's more like I have the luxury to say no. I don't want to take this job. That's a luxury. You know, I don't want to go to work today. That's a luxury. I want to spend time with my kids.
Yes.
That's a luxury to do that, you know? It's a luxury to be able to, you know, get your wife something,
Come on.
you know? Something nice.
Right.
Just cause. That's a luxury. You know, and this is the type of luxury that others can afford. We need to be able to afford that. You know?
Yes, sir.
So it's not just the money. Money is all type of stuff, but the luxury with the money. You know, you got people who make tons of money, got oodles of money, and don't have the luxury to say what I'll say any day of the week, anytime, and I ain't got no money. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You got people who have a lot of the things that we look to as symbols of freedom, or you know, capabilities of being free, but are slaves still. They don't have the luxuries we got.
Yes.
You know, so just to touch on that, but I was going to add to what Brother Maurice said. You know, Tyreek Evans. As far as our celebrities and you know, sports figures not understanding that they have to work with us to change us, you know, and improve upon us. Tyreek Evans was at Arden Mall one time, and even though he a ball player, played for the Sacramento Kings, his boy was there with a hoodie, and they told him to leave. They told Tyreek Evans and his boy to leave. He was liable to spend 20, 30 grand just on a win. You know, just cause he feel like it. He go, what's he going to the mall for?
Right.
You know, but just cause he wearing a hoodie, I mean, obviously it's not just a hoodie. You know, there's probably other people who could have worn hoodies or were wearing hoodies at that time, you know. But because he was black, his boy was black, they told him he got to go. It didn't matter what money he made. It doesn't matter what his paycheck was, or if he's on ESPN, the Sports Center all day. It don't matter to nobody. You still a Negro.
That's what.
I mean, that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah, no matter. Look, poor whites is here, right? Rich black folks is up under that. Right? Rich black folks is up under that. You know what I mean? Then it's the white folks, poor whites, and it go from there. You know. Yeah. So we gotta understand, man. There's no amount of money you can make that could ever grant you acceptance into Master's kingdom or Master's, you know, pedestal or anything like that. You know, another thing is that as black folks, in order for us to really come up, each one of us has to have a business or be a part of a black business. It's got to be like that. You know?
Right.
You can't have the money, the little money we do got, circulating amongst us if you can't give me what I need. Then I got to go to the Asians. I got to go to the Mexicans. I got to go to white folks. I can't get none from you. How am I going to put the money in your pocket? You know? It can't be a charity thing because eventually I'm going to run out. I'm not going to have what I could give you. You know what I mean? It's got to be an exchange. I got to be able to get from you what I could get from other people or need to get.
Yes.
You know? So we got to have a business. And then we got to support our own businesses. Everybody says that. And I know it's like simple, but it's even down to the little brother who's selling candy bars so he could get a football jersey, you know, to play football this season. It's even down to that. You see a brother, and I don't care who it is, if they doing something for self, you got to support it. Give them what you got, even if you don't want to take the product. Put the money in his pocket. Because the next thing he's going to do is be in your house. You know what I mean? Straight up. The next thing he's going to do is be selling your daughter. Convincing your daughter to go out on the stroll and on the blade. So he could get paid. Because nobody was supporting him. The next thing he's going to do is be pushing to your high school teenager. The next latest craze. You know what I mean? Whether it's heroin, Oxycontin, Molly, whatever you want to talk about. Right. But that's what they're going to do because we aren't supporting what they were doing in order to make a living. You know what I mean? And that's what we got to do, man. We're just plain and simple. But if we do those things, I feel like finances won't be such a problem for us.
Yes, well, it starts to add balance to everybody's reality. Everybody's reality is different. You know, my reality in my household may be a little bit different than Brother Steve's reality in his household. You know, Brother Steve's reality may be different than Brother Scott's reality. So on and so forth. So when we start to balance our own realities, then it starts to stabilize as a whole, which is what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
It starts to stabilize as a whole. I don't have to live in the same household as Brother Maurice up on the hill, because heaven is a state of mind.
That's right.
And the brother was saying that some of our athletes, with all of this wealth that they acquired, or some of these Europeans, with all the wealth they acquire, they sit there and they'll drink themselves to sleep. Or drink themselves to death. Oh, this person, or pill themselves to death. And they got all the money that you think is going to make you happy.
That's right.
Or make them happy. Or they sit back in their office and they think about the wealth that they've acquired, but how it's not brought them any peace.
That's right.
And I'm poor and I'm happy.
Yeah.
You'll never see me in here be mean. Be angry. No, sir. How your day go? This is the best part of my day, brother, right here. I always come like this. This is the best part of my day. And I don't have the wealth they have. And they take that pistol and they cock it. And they put it right into the back. And they pull that trigger. So, understanding that the finances and our support of one another, each one teach one, begins to stabilize our own realities. We have to be able to work towards stabilizing the little brother selling the candy bar, my brother doing lawn and horticulture, my brother doing a little computer service on the side, so he's trying to free himself, my investment, my sister with hers, whatever that it is, and it starts to stabilize each of us. And we become healthy, mentally, spiritually, and physically.
That's right.
Brother Maurice, please.
Yeah, real quick. I was going off of what Brother Scott said. I told my oldest son he wanted the Jordans and he wanted the latest sort of shoe that was out at the time. And I was like, man, you play pro sports or something? You know, I had to ask him. You know what I'm saying? You know, for pro sport, that's a pro athlete shoe. Now I just want to know what you going to walk in the mall professionally with it? I don't know what you going to do. But I told him, I said, here, I got $100 for you. And I just gave him 100.
Yes, sir.
Because he wanted something, it was 190. I think it was Penny Hardaway or something.
Oh, my
the ugly shoes. So I said, here's $100. And I said, you got a choice. And he was younger then. He's 23 now. I said, you can go buy them $100 shoes and be broke. Or you can buy some shoes for $40, $50 and have $50 in your pocket.
That's right.
I said, I'm out of them. You know what I'm saying? And that way, that's when you start building that into your children. You know what I'm saying? Because you can be, hey, I see a lot of people, I used to be on the bus, I see a lot of people with the iPhone, or iPhones wasn't out back then, but the new Bravo Plus pager. The white one, you know, the color with the leather case with the gold chain on it. It had the newest kicks on, but you was on the bus with me. You know what I'm saying? So, and I just, you know, you just got to think about it. I'd rather have $50 than have me some regular old Nikes on.
Yeah, I agree. Brother Ted.
You know, one thing we got to teach our youth is that the white man is selling to your son as a teenager the same exact shoes he sold to me as a teenager. That was the same exact shoes that was sold to the brother a generation above me when he was a teenager.
Right.
The same J's, the same Air Forces, the same Air Max, the same Penny Hardaways. I was rocking those. And like when I was 12, I was rocking the same ones that they selling right now.
And retro.
We're retro. And the shell top Adidas. Can't forget that. And Timberlands and all that, you know. It's nothing new. This is old, matter of fact, you know. It ain't the latest nothing. Yeah, you know what I mean? And so, and it's kept its retail value over the years. It's just a trick.
Put it on the right person.
That's right, you know.
Let me turn this. We're about to close out. We're about 10 minutes or so. And I'm wondering if I should hold it or at least open it up a little bit. Let me just find out before I turn it just a little bit. Sister Kim, any thoughts in regards to what you've just been processing, what you've been digesting? Any thoughts about what you've heard, sis?
I mean, I can agree with everyone, starting with Brother Scott. I just converted a term life policy to a whole life policy, where in 25 years, God don't say anything different, I'm still alive, I'll have like $80,000 in that policy versus, wherein if I die today, my children have three $250,000 policy is going to be split, but they be trying to kill each other. Besides my youngest, about who's going to get what. And if I live, once that policy's over, I don't have nothing. I have to start all over again. So that was something that I did for myself. But it's not just for me. It's for whoever, my grandchildren. That's what I'm thinking about, because their parents they're grown. So whatever decision that they make, that's on them. I'm not worried about them. And just all the way around the room, I never bought Jordans for my adult children. And they hated me for that. We would go to Famous Footwear was out then. That's before the outlets came out. Right. Or we go to Southern California and hit different stores, but now in their mid and late 20s, they're just now saying, you know what? I didn't understand the reason why you did it. You take us somewhere and we come out of there with 4 or 5 pairs of shoes.
Yes, ma'am.
A piece, and you would spend less than $200.
Right.
Oh, $20? Oh, that's too much. You look over there. And it would always be like, these shoes are ugly, whatever. No, because then when you would sport them, somebody would be like, oh, them is tight, where you get them at? Oh, man, I ain't going to tell you how much they cost because they be embarrassed. $14.99 and this is an $89 shoe. You got to learn how to stretch your money.
That's right.
And you're growing. And then bartering. Oh, my goodness. Being a businesswoman almost 20 years, I've tried to barter, especially with hard people. That's the first people I bartered with. They don't hold up their end of the bargain. You know, I gotta chase them down and try to find them. And you know, I don't play when it comes to business, so I know what is expected of me. So then you should know what's expected of you. And when I visited Georgia last year, there was a young man, my friend that I was visiting, we met at a gas station close to her shop. And that is one thing that I can say about Atlanta and the surrounding areas. You can say, you know, I have a new Lysol type wipe. Somebody gonna buy it. Somebody's gonna take that idea, brother Kenyatta, that's your idea. We get ready to go patent this. We get ready to go see what we can do with this. People are willing to invest in other people. Doesn't matter how silly or small the idea may be. You know, it's like if you can believe it, we're going to achieve it.
Yes.
And there was a young man, and I'm done. There was a young man who had walked up to me, and I was waiting on my friend. And before I could say anything, she says, patronize him. So he had a box similar to that, and it was full of different buttons. And you know, buttons back Cyndi Lauper, 80s, whatever. Each button had a different phrase on it. Like the one I purchased said, like, live, love, laugh. And I asked him what was it for. He gave me a whole sales pitch. He said that he had been doing this he was graduating from high school last year. He had been doing it since he was 13. He went from different business to different business and sold them to whoever he could sell them to. They were $1 a piece. I think he told me I asked him how much it cost. 10, 15 cents a piece. And he was taking that money, putting it in an account, so when he got ready to go to college, his parents would not have to help him. And I think he told me, I mean, he had close to like $25,000, but I gave him, and I just gave him like $10. I took maybe 2 pens, but my friend told me, she says he's been doing that like 5 or 6 years. And she says, I would rather give him $1 than somebody standing on the corner with a sign saying we'll work for food, because you really don't want to work for food. You want me to give you some money so you can do whatever it is. So it's you know, it's hard to patronize people, especially when you already see them walk off with your money and go do something else. And to try to keep the black dollar within the community, it's hard because everybody is going in a different direction. Even when it's a group of people that say they're together, there's always some in the bunch that's doing their own thing. So when you patronize that particular group, who are you really helping, and where is your money really going? Because 5 different people going 5 different directions when it's supposed to be one cause.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sister Kim. We're taught to be in time, on time, right down to modern time. And really, there's a second half to this finance that I want to try and take a look at, and maybe we'll pick back up on it on Thursday. Because now that we've identified the problems that are created from that the messenger and the minister basically pointed out, hey, here are the 4 problems, and finance being one, and we've identified what those problems are and how they affect us. Now we need to really start to talk about the solutions, and we started to get into that. right at the tail end, 10 before, stabilizing each as individuals, supporting where we need to support with. We really need to start to look at how do we then be the counterbalance to the financial pressure that the system places on us. What is the counterbalance? We have to have a countermeasure to the system that these Europeans have put in place. We have to have a countermeasure to it.
Yes, sir.
And our countermeasure is peace of mind. My grandfather, may Allah be pleased with him, my father is like real tall. My mom is like real short, right?
Speak a little louder, brother.
My father, Shaheed, is real tall, right? My mother, Shaida, is real short. So, hey, got my dad's heart, my mom's size, right? I'll figure it out. My grandfather is, on my mother's side, is also tall. But he was a very humble and meek man. Very humble, very meek type of individual. Talked real calmly, had a little garden, had his little house, and, the community would come by and he'd pick his hot peppers and tomatoes, and, he had his little farm. The minister talks about, extracting what we really need from the land.
Yes, sir.
Everything that we need is right there, actually in the earth.
Yes,
we
sir.
stopped doing that, though. And they continued where we left off at, But I say that to say that when my grandfather expired, there were no complaints. He lived a very humble quality of life that was satisfactory to him. And he didn't have a big car. He didn't have a Maserati. He didn't have any of that. He had a couple little dogs. Everybody's grandpa, right? A couple little dogs, some chickens running around, and, little tomato and hot peppers in the front. But he was happy all the way until he was called back onto the Creator.
Yes, sir.
And that was peaceful for him. And I can see that peace as I mature. That if my quality of life is not designated, which I'm going to recap some of the higher truths that we talked about, but it is not designated based upon the worth. And it was said, do not let the worth define you. Make sure that our education maybe frees us. Take that. And that's a education not just based upon the Europeans, but an education based upon the whole world aspect, the Creator aspect. It makes you see yourself as a God again versus a Negro.
Yes, sir.
In regards to that. Let money be your wisdom. Use money as wisdom. Brother Maurice has said that. Be wise with your money. And you can take that money and be a great steward in your community or just within your family.
Yes, sir.
Being wise with your money. You can make $20,000, $30,000 with wise choices. Make you be the most brilliant one in your family, and they make it $60,000 and $70,000.
Yes, sir.
But they're struggling paycheck to paycheck with that. But you make your $30,000 look very comfortable. I got my A to B car. So you struggle with that $30,000 car that you got over there. I'm going to go ahead and drive this Honda Accord that's water and gas and get me everywhere I need to go.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So you put that $70,000 flat screen up there. 70-inch flat screen. Yeah, just 40 will do just fine. You know what I mean?
Sir.
And now I have a quality of life that's very comfortable, and I'm not stressed out about my resources. Also, we talked about money having the effect, or finances having the effect, if it isn't balanced and levied properly, to affect then all of the rest. And then that creates our cornerstone. I think Sister Kimberly started off with that. So not having your finances balanced properly, then getting that proper health care. Or either going holistic with our brother or sister that understands the earth, but you can't barter with her to get what you need. Instead of popping the pill, you're still having a problem. So there's a lot that the finances affects us. I think when we come back on Thursday, let's talk about the solutions. And they don't have to be huge steps. They're small steps. That all we have to do is take a small step forward, and that's still motion. You're still making momentum. Just be able to, they said the race is not from the swift, it's to the one that can what?
Endure.
Endure to the end. So just make it a long-term goal, and you'll get there. 25 years, Sister Kimberly and me, we're gonna take that that $80,000, and boy, we going out. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a long-term vision. She saw it and said, "Hey, eat right, stay healthy. May the Creator be pleased with me. In 25 years, then I'll have this to actually sit back and add to my retirement. You know, my age, my golden age. I can do that if I am disciplined enough."
Yes,
so
sir.
we need to on Thursday talk about that discipline, because that's really how we're going to get there. You know, European dangles that carried over our face, right in our face, and we want it overnight. And that's the way they teach us, and
Yes,
that's
sir.
the way they train us.
Yes, sir.
And there were a few things. If you can go online and take a look at the Willie Lynch, syndrome, or his, mental. Man, I really want to give him a good, his mental corruption upon us. But a couple of things they never allowed us to do is the art of mating and the understanding of finances and resources. They never would teach us that.
Yes, sir.
How to read, how to write, the art of mating, and finances and resources. The minister speaks on that also. But that's one of the things that Europeans would never teach us how to do properly, because it would begin to set us free.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So with that being the case, I want to thank everybody for coming out on their Tuesday night class. Did you all enjoy yourself?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Man, I'm the one that's gained the most. I thank you all for the highest truth that you were able to share. This is the best part of my day. I'm smiling profusely because I have more tools that I can take home and I can utilize and put right into my household. And we pray that you do also. Thank you so much.